we wanted to get pregnant, right? Uh, how did that affect you as a woman, going through that process of figuring out what was going on and then all the things that kind of came along with it?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like we didn't fight.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times when people don't fight, everybody thinks everything is okay. We didn't fight. You were very supportive of going through the IVS, the financial cost, and assisting me with medicines and appointments. But I think, and you can clarify this when I'm done, but the emotional piece for me wasn't there. You
Mhm.
were very matter of fact, like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we'll move on. But for a woman or for myself, it wasn't that light. It was very heavy for me, very emotional for me, very stressful, very scary. I went through all types of things like embarrassment, shame, guilt, loneliness, just not feeling understood. Um, so I feel like because we didn't fight, you probably didn't even realize I was in that space.
Mhm.
And I know other marriages may go through stuff like that where one partner, the male or the female, for different reasons, suppresses their feelings, doesn't fully communicate because they feel like the partner kind of doesn't quite get it or is not on the same page or doesn't understand. Um, so I think that was our challenge. And you, like I said, unfair to you, you may not have known the level of those feelings at that time. Because I kept it to myself once, you might have had a couple reactions or a couple responses that made me feel like I don't feel like that, or that's not where I am, or that's not something I,
Yeah.
would agree with.
Yeah.
So I think that was the part for me, just going through the emotional piece in a quiet space because I didn't share with I think maybe two or three other people probably knew at the time. So it was kind of, lonely and sad and a little bit of grief, I would say.
Hey, family. This is Che Willis coming back with another episode of Wealth is a Journey podcast. Guys, we have reached episode 52. Let's go.
Let's go, baby. I'm
Let's
so happy
go.
for you.
Let's go. Thank you so much. So, we are concluding our marriage series. We've been talking for the last 3 weeks. We've been talking to successfully married couples who still love each other,
Amen.
couples who have been giving information on how to do married life better, different obstacles that they've overcome, and how they've overcome them, and hopefully this has given you some insight on how to maybe do your marriage better or um, maybe do business better as a married couple. But before I start, I do this all the time. If you are new to this podcast, we talk about faith, we talk about family, and we talk about finances. So I'd like to thank you for joining us today. If you are a returned listener or watcher, thank you for coming back. Hopefully, we're giving you some information that has enriched your lives and added value. Today, we are in for a treat.
Got that right.
That's right. I got my wife. She was a co-host on the last episode. Today, she is now in the hot seat. She's in the hot seat. Before I introduce her, well, I'm going to introduce her. This is my wife. Her name is Tanera Willis. We have been married for 18 and a half years. That's a long time, man. If you actually think about it.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for being my wife. I appreciate you.
Hmm.
Yeah. Thank you. We have accomplished so much in these last 18 and a half years. It's insane. Like if you actually think about all the things that we have accomplished, it's crazy. We're on our third house together, residence, which in November we paid off completely debt free. Cars paid for, no debt. We have real estate together. My son's college will be fully funded before he gets to high school. He's in seventh grade now. Different home projects, different things that we've done and we've accomplished. After you look back at it, it's been amazing, man. And we still have a lot to do.
Amen.
But the purpose of me having her on here is because a lot of people may think they see us, they see the podcast, and they think that we just arrived here. And I think it's very, very important for us to go back to the beginning and talk about how we met, different challenges that we faced. So again, may help you on your journey to see that, people who look like you or people who are married like you, what they've gone through and what they've overcome and how they've overcome it. So, baby, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today. My first question for you, is: do you remember our first date?
I think so. But first I want to say thanks be unto God, because you kind of rolled off a lot of things that we were able to accomplish, but we couldn't do anything without God's favor. And then just the power of the Holy Ghost, and then us submitting to his will and for our lives and the purposes. But yeah, I believe I remember the first date.
Okay. Well, you know what? Now let me go back, because you're absolutely right. Because I have a problem doing that, and I mentioned it on the podcast before that we knocked down goals, and I just like, okay, what's the next thing? And I didn't really think about like all the things that we accomplished until I was preparing for the podcast. So yeah, God is amazing. Thank you so much for blessing us. But yeah, so going back to the question, where was our first date at?
I want to say it was at a chicken spot in Essington, like a lunch date. Is that right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
We went to Popeyes.
Yeah.
Said Popeyes, and I knew I had something special when we went to. So first of all, we've been friends for like about 3 years or so before we went on our first date. Yeah,
You
3.
think it was that long?
Yeah, because I think I was like 20 when I met you, and we was
Mm.
cool. And then you asked me for my number. You was being fresh, but we're not talking about that today. We're not going to talk about that today. My question. So we went to Popeyes, and I didn't ask her to do this, but she paid for my meal. She paid for my meal. That was special to me because as I'm go ahead. What were you like? You want to say?
So was that a date or were we friends?
We were. It was a.
Because I've never paid for a date, so I just want to.
You were courting me.
I wasn't.
You were courting me on the low.
So let's just say this is before we were officially dating. I think
Okay.
we were friends and we were hanging out.
Okay. That was a lasting impression for me. That's when I knew something about you was special, because up to that point, like I had never done that before. Like anybody that I dated or went out to lunch or whatever, I would most like pay, or it would be 50-50. So when you did that, I'm like, okay, I got something special here. I got something special here. But we continued to date for probably about a year. And I mentioned it on the last podcast, is that I went to my man's wedding. And then I knew at that point, this is something that I can do, because you checked off all the boxes for me. And I know you hate when I say this, but this was important to me. You cooked, you cleaned, you had a good job, you were respectful for the most part. Yeah. But you checked off all the boxes for me, and then that's when I knew that I gotta go ahead and do the right thing and marry this girl, if she would say yes. So my question to you is, when did you know that I
Mm.
was the one for you?
Oh gosh.
That's what I need to know. The people need to know.
So I guess I need clarification in your question.
Go ahead.
So I think it's two parts, because I think there's a point where I knew you would be someone I'd be interested in dating. And
Okay.
then I think there's a point when I realized that you would be someone I would want to be with for the rest of my life.
Okay, so let's go with the first one first, and then we'll go to part B.
So I think the dating thing came by surprise. As Chase shared with you, we were friends first. We had a lot of good times together as far as laughing, partying, hanging around friends, going to each other's events. And we also talked a lot. So I think when we started dating is after you start getting fresh with me at some of these events, and it took me by surprise. So it was surprisingly exciting. Um, so I
Okay.
think it just kind of happened. I think I liked you for sure as a friend first. I liked you as a man first. I love the person that you were, and it was important to me that you were so secure in yourself and what you wanted that that became very attractive. So as far as the dating part, it was after you start being fresh, but I had already liked you as a man before I liked you as a partner.
Wow. Uh, I'm trying to debate whether I want to go down this road with you or not. But let's go to part B next because I'm really on the edge here, ready to go down this road.
So I don't know. I don't remember a turning point when I knew that I wanted you to be my spouse. I remember definitely falling in love with you again as a person as we were dating and growing, meeting each other's families, spending more time together. And to me, I just feel like I remember you proposing, which I didn't expect. You proposed after dating for 10 months, not quite a year. So your girl was just really, that girl
Okay. You
for sure.
you know for sure.
um, I feel like again, you took me by surprise, but it was beautiful. I loved how you proposed. I love again what you represented as a person. And I wanted that for my future. You were definitely somebody different than what I had dated previously, different from what I thought I wanted. You were definitely something that I needed. And so I'm glad I said yes. So I don't remember a defining moment that said I want to be his wife.
That's what's up. So let's go back to when I proposed to you. If anybody has seen that Martin episode, because I'm in my head trying to think, how am I going to do this? It needs to be funny. It needs to be cool. That Martin episode when he proposed to Gina, they was outside in the cold, and he had Brian McKnight. I didn't have Brian McKnight. I had Brian McKnight playing in the background. And I got her sisters and her brother involved. So shout out to y'all, Anwar. Shout out to Muka, and shout out to Lena. Um, they were involved, and Lena came by. I was like, "Hey, I got these flowers for sale." And then Anwar came by. I said, "Hey, I got this ring for sale." And then I bought all the stuff for $1 because I didn't have a lot of money. And we went ahead and did the thing, man. And it was awesome. I'm just upset that it wasn't filmed because it was super dope.
So I think in that regard, when you propose for our 20th anniversary, you should do it again.
What come again? Pause.
When you propose, you said we've been together for 18 years. We're going to do a 20th anniversary renewal. Do that again, just on a grander scale because you've leveled up.
Don't don't try to embarrass me on here because forget it. Yes, we are going to have a 20th thing.
Thing.
Gonna have a
I
20th
want
thing.
it has to be grand, honey.
No doubt, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
I gotta check the budget. Gotta now we gonna do something dope. I already kind of have it in my mind, like something outside in the backyard with the pool and then
What?
like the glass. No, like the glass have it catered. No, you think about something else.
The backyard just killed my whole vibe.
Did it? We got a nice backyard.
We do have a nice backyard, but it's not giving. Come on, let's move on.
Now you see this is real life here. This is the real exchange that we having right now,
Because
guys.
don't minimize my vision. Put me in somebody's backyard. I don't care whose backyard it is.
So when people get married, they have this idea that things are going to be perfect. They have this idea in their head that things are going to be perfect, and you married the perfect person, and all the things, flowers and candy, and you frolicking through the field and you having a good time. That's not the case. When did you know that was not really a reality after we got married? Like, is there something that I did to upset you, or it? Because I'm thinking of times when prior to us getting married, like we hadn't really got into anything, like any arguments or anything like that. To that I remember anyway. So when we ended up getting married and then we had our first tiff, I was the type of person that, hey, listen, man, we sophisticated here. We had a tiff. All right. So my thing was is that I was the type of person that if I got upset with you, I would just cut you off, stop talking to you for days at a time, sometimes weeks at a time, and it was all good to me. But you came to me and was like, "You're not going to not talk to me," and this, that, and the third. And I'm like, "Oh, this is real."
Yes, non-negotiable.
Yeah, but
Communication is non-negotiable.
correct. And 18 and a half years in, I understand that. I was being stupid. I was being young. I didn't know any better. But that's when I knew it was real for me, that I can't do this to her. So my question to you is, when did you know that it was real? Like, we not dating no more. Like, this is real.
I think it was when you started to have all these expectations of submission that drove me up a wall. It drove me crazy. I didn't understand it. It was definitely unnatural for me. Um, I didn't really know what the Bible said about submission. I really didn't know what that looked like. I came from a family of a lot of independent, strong-willed women who predominantly ran the household, made all the decisions, and did what they wanted to do.
Mhm.
And I didn't have a lot of examples of men being leaders, of men being financially inept, if that's the correct word. Um, so that submission, that um, collaboration was very uncomfortable for me, I would say, for the first few years,
Mhm.
maybe the first 5 years, but definitely the first, I would say the second and third year. The first year I think was, was all fun and games. Um, but years 2 through 3, I think we had some major pivotal turns of reality. So I think it was that process for me. I think that was my biggest thing. Um, Learning to be respectful without learning to lose yourself,
Yep.
and learning to communicate my needs without overriding your needs. I think that all of that kind of was happening all at once for me.
Yeah. And I want to know, first of all, what clicked for you to say I need to maybe change some things within myself? Or is there something that happened, like you said, between year 1 through 5? Like, what clicked for you to say, okay, maybe I need to, change the way my delivery, or what was it?
Okay. So one thing I think I've always known for sure is, even though I didn't have examples of what did work, I have a plethora of examples of what didn't work.
Yeah.
So that helped me have some stick to itiveness to it, and wanting to do things differently. Um, I thought you were worth it. I tell people all the time, one of my favorite phrases, every man is not worth submitting to. And I do know that you were and are a man that's worth submitting to. I just knew it was a process, and I had to be patient with myself, be patient with you. Um, and it was something that I valued and I wanted. And I think a lot of times we say we want the marriage, we say we want the man, we want all of the flowery things about marriage and relationships, but we don't want the pruning part. We don't want the fertilization and nurturing, the watering part. We just want the beautiful parts, like you said. And I knew that it was all a process. So I thank God for wisdom in that area. I'm not quite sure where it came from, but I just knew if I did my part, I could trust God. And then I just needed you to do your part, and then that's how that's, to me, that's a marriage.
Yeah. I agree. And marriage is tough, man. It's tough for young people. It's tough for older people because, when you get married as you're older, you're kind of stuck in your ways. And as you're young, you think you know everything. And okay, I'm used to doing things one way, and this person is going to kind of acquiesce to what I want. You like that? That was dope. Um, and it's just not like that. And I think we bumped our heads because we're like, okay, well, I'm going to impose my will. And I think that's probably where a lot of the clashing came from. And I'm glad we made it to the other side.
Yeah, you're lucky again.
No, I am. I appreciate you. So we again talking about not the flowery part, not the rosy part. Um, you you wrote a book about um infertility, right? We had some challenges getting pregnant. We had some challenges there, and you wrote a book about it, and
Hmm.
you could talk about it or not. That's fine. But we wanted to get pregnant, right? Uh, how did that affect you as a woman, going through that process of figuring out what was going on and then all the things that kind of came along with it?
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like we didn't fight.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times when people don't fight, everybody thinks everything is okay. We didn't fight. You were very supportive of going through the IVS, the financial cost, and assisting me with medicines and appointments. But I think, and you can clarify this when I'm done, but the emotional piece for me wasn't there. You
Hmm.
were very matter of fact, like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, we'll move on. But for a woman or for myself, it wasn't that light. It was very heavy for me, very emotional for me, very stressful, very scary. I went through all types of things like embarrassment, shame, guilt, loneliness, just not feeling understood. Um, so I feel like because we didn't fight, you probably didn't even realize I was in that space.
Hmm.
And I know other marriages may go through stuff like that where one partner, the male or the female, for different reasons, suppresses their feelings, doesn't fully communicate because they feel like the partner kind of doesn't quite get it or is not on the same page or doesn't understand. Um, so I think that was our challenge. And you, like I said, unfair to you, you may not even known the level of those feelings at that time. Because I kept it to myself once, you might have had a couple reactions or a couple responses that made me feel like I don't feel like that, or that's not where I am, or that's not something I,
Yeah.
would agree with.
Yeah.
So I think that was the part for me, just going through the emotional piece in a quiet space because I didn't share with I think maybe two or three other people probably knew at the time. So it was kind of, lonely and sad and a little bit of grief, I would say.
Okay. Yeah. Now I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And I'm glad my dad passed away when back in 2018, and I think we were going through this probably around 2010 2011-ish time frame, and I was young in going to church. Like I was like getting my footing in and getting relationship with God, and in going to church you have this idea that um you pray, and if it's God's will, it's going to happen. But for us, it could happen, but we had to get medical help. But my thought was, because I was young, that God was going to make it happen. Just sprinkle his, whatever on it, and then it was going to happen.
Hmm.
I had a conversation with my dad, and he told me, I was like, yeah, well, if this is going to happen and we're supposed to get pregnant, then God's going to make it happen. He was like, well, what if he gave you the means to be able to get medical help for whatever your
Hmm.
issue is? And I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. So I'm saying that to say that it's good to be able to lean on somebody who is wise. If
Yes.
I never had that conversation with him, then Che might not be here, because that's like I was dug in. And then
Hmm.
once I had that conversation with him, I'm like, oh my God, this is good information. I appreciated that conversation with him because it opened my eyes to, and again, I was still young, and I just didn't know. But
Yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry. We're gonna say.
No, I was just going to speak to that because that is something, being in the community, even though it's an unwanted community, I get asked a lot, like, what would you say to a spouse or a partner who doesn't quite understand or get it? And I would say to be a safe space and be open to hearing both sides and be careful with your words. Because I think, like you said that, and to me, it made me retreat and pull back whereas maybe I would have shared more and maybe helped you get more understanding or more empathy. But sometimes some of our responses, both, from either party, can cause the other person to retreat and share less.
For sure, for sure. And going back to just me, the way my brain works, it's what's the goal? How do we accomplish it? Let's knock it down. Anything that happens in between that is not really important to me. Not saying that that's the right thing, but I think once we figured out, okay, this is what we need to do. All right, let's do it. Not thinking how it's affecting you,
Mm-hmm.
mentally, what you're going through. Cause I'm just thinking to myself, okay, what's the goal? We know what it is. We know what we need to do in between the time. Let's just knock it down. So the way my brain works, I never even thought about that, which is crazy. But the good news is that we got on the other side of it. We figured out what we needed to do. We were very pleasant to each other, if I'm saying that correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a son who's now going to be 13 years old in July. So very, 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 very excited, man. So and the thing is, like, we despise going through different things, but those things that you go through in a marriage, work, business, they're there. Not saying that they're there to make you stronger, but they do make you stronger.
Yeah,
If
it
you
builds character even in a marriage. It builds up
Right,
resilience. It allows you to have a testimony to share with other people. It even should bring you closer and should, instead of pulling you apart.
yeah, because I felt like I was close as you, giving you the medicines and stuff like that. Like
Yeah,
that was an honor. That was an honor for me to be able
yeah,
to. I'm sure it was painful for you, but I'm like, yo, I get to do this,
yeah.
so we
I
can,
agree.
yeah, so we
And that's
can,
why I said on all aspects you were definitely there. Was just that empathy piece. Maybe we didn't have as much as communication, and I own that piece because, like I said, I pulled back once I've heard a few responses, I had a few reactions that were hurtful to me because I was in such an emotionally vulnerable state. But definitely, anything else I tell everybody, we're definitely supportive, cooperative, participate. You were very engaged for sure.
yeah. I kind of wish we had we took a few pictures, but I kind of wish we had took like videos and stuff like that because just to document
Yeah,
that process. That was it was cool because I think it brought us closer together. I feel like
yeah.
and
Yeah,
and
it's definitely a unique process. And you kept a good spirit. You would joke around and laugh and joke and stuff like that. So that helped when we would be at doctor's visits and stuff.
yeah, yeah. So the just to plug the book real quick. Um,
Mhm.
what's the name of it and where can they purchase it? If there's somebody in the audience who wants to read more about.
Yeah, so Memoirs of Almost Barren Women, Our Journey to Motherhood is a memoir of 6 different families where we share our different processes and challenges in overcoming infertility. It has different stories, different outcomes, different family demographics to kind of connect with as many people as possible because there's 1 in 5 families dealing with infertility. So the book can be purchased at theamazingcorner.com or anywhere any of your favorite retailers that sell books like Walmart, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, places like that. It can be found in any of those locations.
Yeah. And I read the book before it came out and it's excellent, man. So if you guys are having any, issues with fertility or you want to read more about our story or the other families that were involved, go pick it up. And I will put the description in the I'll put it in the description. What's going on, family? My name is Che Wills from Wealth is a Journey. I don't know if you know, but I help families living paycheck to paycheck live the life that they want to live through budgeting and investing. So if this is you and you need help setting up a basic budget, which is the foundation to build any type of wealth, then book a free discovery call. Or if you are a beginner investor and you don't know where to go or where to start investing, go to wealthisajourney.com. Again, wealthisajourney.com. If you know somebody who needs help in either of these areas, make sure that you shoot on my website at wealthisajourney.com, wealthisajourney.com. let's get back to the episode later. But so we get through that. Was there ever a point to you where you felt like we had things kind of figured out? Like we go through
Hmm.
this rocky road, we go through the having Che, and was there ever a point where you felt like we figured it out?
I feel like we figured it out now. I feel like you said, we had some ups and downs throughout the process. I think right now we're at a space where we don't intentionally pick one another or push each other's buttons. I feel like we're in a space where we don't intentionally say, well, that's just how I am, and the other person has to get over it. Neither one of us are, I don't want, I guess I feel like there's certain things that we're stuck in our ways, but it's not a hard stop for either one of us. We're both willing to adapt and make changes, even though sometimes it's easier than other times. But I think we don't stay in a sunken place when we get emotional or upset or disappoint one another. We both have our ways of making sure we, come back around and focus on what's important, which is us.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree 100%. I feel like life is right now is getting easier, I'll say. Life is never easy, but I feel like it's easier just because of decisions that we made years ago, right? So for me, I would say when we, and it wasn't like I don't think we intended for all these good things to happen. But like when we combine our finances, I feel like our marriage went to another level
Hmm.
because we communicated more because we had to, like we were forced to communicate more.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
although I know that it was tough for you, it was also tough for me as well for different reasons, but it was tough for both of us. But my question to you is, based on you being the spender and me being the saver, right? What
Hmm.
would you tell that family, that man or that woman who is like you, that likes what they like and they want to go buy it, they work hard, they deserve it, all the things. Like what would you tell that person about, combining finances if they were on the fence about doing that?
I think it's focus on your goal. And then making sure what you're spending your money on is something that's going to give back to you. I think that's one thing that helps me. Because I do like designer stuff. I do like lavish vacations. I do like fancy restaurants. But none of those things outside of the vacations kind of give back to you. Definitely not these designers and some of these places we give our money. um, I think when I focus on the goal, because I feel like having a paid off home and having cars with no um card notes and having a paid off pool with no credit card debt, having investments and things like that, to me, that's much more rewarding than having a Louis Vuitton bag or a Gucci bag or whomever. Even though, like I said, I still enjoy those things, I still want those things. I can be a little bit more patient with that. I don't have to have as much of that. Because the goal and what we achieved is, to me, is much bigger. To have financial peace and no debt has been exciting. It's amazing, it's encouraging, and it makes you want more. So I think that's what helps me. Like I still want my things that are material, but they're less important, and I realize that they don't give back to me.
Yeah, I agree because I was on that kick too, buying Gucci. This was before we combined our finances. I even I remember one time, I don't know if you remember this, but I bought a pair of Gucci rain boots. You remember those the black Gucci rain boots?
I had some too.
I was like, fam, you are no, but mine was like Galasha joints, but they was the Gucci. And I was like, fam, you are bugging right now. Like I was just buying stuff
I
just because.
forgot you had those, but I could picture them now.
It was wild, man. But I like nice stuff as well. But I feel like just being on this journey to financial freedom, to build up portfolios, whether it be real estate or stocks. I think going along on that journey made those things a lot less important to me. And I don't think I realized it until we got on the journey and then we started knocking down some things. And I'm like, oh, well, instead of buying this, although I may want it, let's go knock this thing down. And now I don't think I've honestly, you call me up and say, hey, can we get this? Can we do this? Can we do that? Sure, let's do it. Because I feel like, you have sacrificed so much for us to accomplish this goal.
Wait, say that again.
No, you did. You said you sacrificed a lot for us to accomplish the goal. And because I know how tough it was for you at times, especially in the beginning.
Hmm.
I feel like for you to ask and say, hey, even though we didn't plan on this thing, if we got it to do it, absolutely, let's go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
I don't think I've told you no since we paid the house off. You
Uh,
called me up and said, hey, can we do this? And I'm like, go, yeah, let's
oh,
go.
so you mean, yeah, I guess
Yeah.
that is the exact verbiage, but I've asked for some high end things that I didn't see them deliver them.
Oh man. Dang.
But I think for the most part, I agree with you. You are a lot more. You say yes a lot more than you have in the past. Definitely to experiences. Definitely to anything that I don't want to say essential because they're not always essential. But like I wanted a new phone just sporadically in the middle of the day. I had a knee jerk reaction like, oh, I think I want a new phone, and new phones now are almost $2,000. So yeah, I think you definitely are a lot easier to say yes because we have less debts. We've accomplished our goals. So I would agree with that. But there's still a couple high-end things I'm waiting to come through the door.
Keep waiting, baby. You so patient. You are so patient. Keep
That
waiting.
ain't what I wanted to hear.
I know. Hey, listen, I got you. I got you. And I think one of the other things that we overlook is married couples are teammates.
Yes.
So I don't think I understood the magnitude of us working together, combining our finances, and how well we actually worked together, because we already worked together well before we did that. We were just
I agree.
we had one goal, but we were working in two different separate ways of getting it done. So then when we got on the same page with things, like working with you was amazing. Like even
Oh.
no, it was because think about this. Like, how much do you dread putting furniture together? But we worked well putting furniture together. We put the desk together. We put Chay's his crib and all that stuff together. That was good. But working together in finances and in working towards that one goal and then knocking the goal down, bro, like that's important, and it shows your kids as well that
Yeah.
together as well. So how was that for you? Like working, did you know that was going to happen once we did that? Like as far as
No, no, definitely not. And like you said, I was afraid in the beginning. It was definitely foreign to me. And it wasn't, if it wasn't for your years of examples, because it was years before we started to do it, before I would agree to it. But no, to me, it kind of blew my mind, because right away, excuse me, I feel like I need to belch, but right away I started to see that submitting to you in that way was a gift and that we did better and were able to accomplish so much more. I remember before we combined our income, when I would take college courses, I was funding them myself and having loans. But then when I was taking college courses when we were together, we were just paying them off. And different experiences like that, things that I would have, challenges paying for on my own, that once we got together, we just budgeted for it and planned for it, and we were able to execute without debt and credit cards and loans or payment plans. Um, it was a lot. It was a lot. I thought I benefited more than you did. So I'm glad to hear that you feel like you benefited as well.
no, I did because my thing, the bigger goal for me was to pay the house off. That was the biggest goal for me. And if we budgeted for the things that you wanted, you got what you wanted. We budgeted for extra payments for the house, and I got what I wanted. So we both won. And
Yeah.
then, and you got all the stuff that you wanted, and you got to pay for a house too. So you did
Yes.
benefit more than I did. But we both won at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're able to we're accomplishing so much more. And like I feel like there's nothing we can't do at this point.
Yeah. I agree with you.
Yeah. So if you guys are, again, if you guys are on the fence about um combining finances, if you feel like, oh well, no, it's going to be tough. Honestly, it's going to be tough if you don't. So the
Yeah.
I would go ahead and take the difficult road. And because there were like, when would you say that we kind of got like on the same page? Like there were probably years
I
before.
think it took us a couple years. I think the
Yeah,
first 6 months was terrible. I always tell people the first 3 months, I think I cried every time we had a budget meeting. I was so frustrated and annoyed. I didn't want to be questioned. I didn't want to have to answer to anybody. It was very uncomfortable for me, and it was also something foreign to me because I didn't budget. I
yeah,
paid my priority bills and I figured out the rest. I shopped whenever I wanted to shop. I brought whatever I wanted to buy. So that adjustment period, those first 6 months was very difficult. And then we would have a few months where it would go great. And then we have a third month where we would, bump heads or be frustrated again because I might have wanted to spend something, or you might have wanted to save a certain amount, or you might have wanted to pay an astronomical amount on the mortgage. Where I would say we are good. Like, calm down. So I think
yeah,
it took us a couple years to not butt heads at all. And every now and then we have a little bit of weird space, but nowhere near where we were, what, maybe 6 years ago. But yeah, so I think the first 3 months were the hardest. 6 months is like, oh, we're really doing this and there's no turning back. I think I tried a couple times to say, well, let's just not do it. And you're like, no, it's going well. Just breathe. We're gonna get through it.
yes,
Um, and then it became a way of life, and it's natural now.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate you seeing the vision and actually working together with me to accomplish this goal. And we're here now, man. So we can, whatever we want to do, we can do at this point. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Now we're gonna get into some business. We're gonna talk about some business. We have rental properties together, and you have multiple things going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I am like, it's as your husband, I always want to see you win, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it pains me, just like your kid. You see your kid bumping her knee or hitting her head or whatever the case may be, and you just want to try to just jump in, but you know that they have to kind of figure it out as well.
Mm-hmm.
And you're an author. You've written or co-wrote multiple books, and now you have something now that I feel like is starting to catch fire. And
Mm-hmm.
to watch it and to see it is awesome. And I get excited when you come back and you tell me, "Oh, well, I got this," and oh, this part I got a meeting here, and all the things. So why don't you tell the people about your newest venture that you have going on
Mm-hmm.
with your books?
Good, good, good. So, guys, I am the founder of the Amazing Author Catalog and Book Fairs, which is a catalog of all self-published authors. Right now, it's predominantly Black women, but it's not exclusive to that group or demographic. We've gotten together to collaborate, connect, and build community, and also foster a love of reading in our schools, homes, and libraries, and provide diverse content. So the catalog launched in February, and like Chase said, it is definitely caught fire. It's smoking. It's doing all the things. There's a lot of engagement and excitement around the project. There's a lot of support around the project. We've received sponsorships. We have a lot of bookings. A lot of people are sharing what we're doing, and a lot of people are purchasing our books. We are really selling books. There's I can't keep them in stock, which is amazing. It's a blessing. And on top of that, I'm getting to show a lot of children, youth, about the importance of reading, the importance of representation, the importance of believing in yourself through our books and our readings and our book fairs. And then the other icing on the cake is to support self-published authors who have family-friendly works that, again, provide positive self-imagery. So the Amazing Author Catalog, you can learn more about it at theamazingcorner.com as well.
Let's go. My baby's out here moving, man. Out here moving them units. No, but it's cool, man, because I remember like when you first wrote the book with Che, and that got some momentum, and
Mm-hmm.
things kind of tapered off a little bit. And
Right.
it was you trying to focus more on yourself, focus on our family, and because you were out a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Again, guys, we're talking about challenges. We're talking about, the good and the bad. And now we're kind of on the other side of that. And now you figured out something that you can help other people. You can also help yourself and
Mm-hmm.
and build a community where everybody's winning. And
Yes.
I think to see it like kind of unfold, and conversations that we had about, okay, well, should I do this or should I do this? And then, me, offer my input or whatever the case may be. And this now to see it like moving is dope, man.
Yeah. Another thank you guy moment.
Absolutely. So what because a lot of entrepreneurs, like, they feel like once they start a business, they're going to get mad support.
Yeah.
Everything is up. And um and it doesn't always work like that. So my question to you is, what, because you've been doing this for years, like, so what gave you the thing to say keep going, don't stop? Because a lot of people quit.
Oh gosh.
And I'm
What
sure you
makes
were on
me
the verge of quitting at some point in time. I'm sure of that.
I don't think I ever got to really wanting to quit, but I definitely had the thoughts.
Yeah.
Should I stop? Is this, the right thing? Am I doing the right thing? But I feel like I always feel like it's the Holy Spirit leading, because I feel like I can't stop. I
Mhm.
do get the thoughts, but I feel like there's always more to do. Um, so what was your question again?
My question is as an entrepreneur, because you've been in entrepreneurship for like kind of doing your own thing. We've been business partners for a long time, but I'm
Mhm.
talking about just kind of doing something separate for me. Like, what was that thing that made you keep going when times got tough in your business?
Yeah. I feel like a big part of my purpose is to help people grow. And that's one of my goals in my business is to help people grow and develop and help them go from ideas to execution. So I just feel like I can't shake that notion to want to help people and help them grow and not be stagnant, to overcome barriers, to overcome stereotypes, to believe in themselves. I can't shake that that I don't know what the word is, that I just feel like that's what I'm supposed to be doing. So I just try to put my business model into that. Like, what problem can I solve that aligns with that can be fruitful or multiply?
That's dope. And I think for entrepreneurs, for people who are married, because that's what we're talking to at this point in time, it's important for you to support your spouse. Like, so for man, if the woman is doing a business venture, if it's a woman doing the man's doing a business venture, it's important for you to support your spouse, giving them encouraging word, giving them space when they need the space. It's very important to have that person who's going to push you, to say that, hey, I'm behind you. I'm encouraging you. I want to see you win. And what reminded me of that is, we're reading in our entrepreneurship group, we're reading the Alex Hermosi book, $100 Million Leads. And he talked about how he had lost all his money, and his girlfriend, his wife now, but his girlfriend at the time, was like still in his corner, like, yo, let's go. What's the next idea? What's the next thing?
Mm-hmm.
And she believed in him.
Mm-hmm.
Belief helped push him to making over hundreds of millions of dollars.
Mm-hmm.
You never know what that encouraging word from your spouse is going to do for their confidence, and help them to be fuel to their greatness, or where they're supposed to be in life.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So keep going, and I want to touch on one last thing real quick. And you have a health fair coming up that people can people register for that now, or because I know.
Yes, yes, it's already on Eventbrite. It's the Amazing Corners fourth annual community and health fair in Middletown, Delaware, open to anyone in the Delaware Valley who, again, has either a health and wellness based business or a small business, but it has to be family friendly. So you can register to be a vendor, you can register to be a volunteer, or you can just register just to come out and have some fun and learn and grow and connect with people.
Mhm. Yeah, my baby's out here doing it, man. Listen, so the first year was a couple years ago. It was dope. We had a great time out there. I was out there leading the charge, doing the workouts. I lost weight. I was feeling good about myself. I was in the front. I was hurting at the end. I was done. But we had a really good time. The second year, which was last year, she
No,
had
last year was the third year, sir.
was it?
It was.
Oh, no, because you had it at Doc Levinson Park the first year, right?
No, we had it at Whitehall
You did.
Park the
I'm
first
sorry.
year.
You were absolutely right. I apologize. You were absolutely right. My bad. So the Whitehall, we had a good time. Doc Levinson Park, great time. But it wasn't as big as it was last year,
The third year.
the third year. Uh, and but the cool part is that you had to pivot with 2 days. Like we saw that it was going to rain, and I'm like, oh man, what are we going to do? And you hustled, you grinded, you made phone calls, and God made it happen. And it seemed like it was effortless, and there was still a good turnout.
Yes.
That was dope. That was dope to
Thank
see.
you.
So I'm saying all that to say that that it grew, and even though it was miles away from where it was supposed to be, people still showed up.
Yes.
So that just shows the power of this event growing, and it's
Mm-hmm.
impacting the community, and it's going back
Yeah.
to your purpose, which is to help people grow and get
Yeah.
better and things like
Yes.
that. So I will put that also in the description as well. Baby, you listen, man. You've been an amazing guest. You've been an amazing guest. My last question, and this is always my last question. We going back to Seeds of Greatness. We asked this on the last episode, but I need another key. We've been married for 18 and a half years. I need a key.
I wish you would have told me that before so I could think
Doing that,
about
we're
it.
not prepping. We're not
I
doing that.
want to say something good. A key. So a key to a successful or happy marriage.
Absolutely. The key to, yeah. If you want me to go first, I can go so you can think about it.
Go ahead, babe.
Okay. My key is to work on yourself.
Oh, I think that's where I was gonna go, but go ahead.
No, you can't do it now. It's mine. You can't do it now. To work on yourself, because a lot of times when you're
Oh, I know what
married,
I'm saying.
you look at that person like it's them, it's them, but no, it's you. You're stubborn. You don't know how to communicate properly. You're obviously doing something wrong to make that person react the way that they're reacting. And as soon as I got in my head that I need to work on myself, and I didn't get this until like just a few years ago, that
Mm-hmm.
I need to work on myself, my attitude changed. My attitude towards my wife changed. Um, I realized what I was doing wrong, and it was all about self-improvement, self-development. So I'm reading books about self-development and how I could just get better. And I'm still on this journey. I'm not perfect. I'm not saying that, but just improving yourself will help your relationship overall improve, because then you're always looking in the mirror like, what could I have done better? So that's my key.
So I love that personal accountability. It's
Thanks.
very important.
Thanks.
So I would say my key would be is not to focus on the don'ts. For always focus on what your partner does not do. I would say focus on the do, because what you focus on grows and you'll see more of it. It'll amplify. So if you're always focusing on he doesn't do this or she doesn't do that, you'll start to see that more and it'll seem more prevalent than it really is. But if you focus on the things that they do, then those things will grow and that will seem more prevalent. So I feel like every now and then when I say, oh, he doesn't do this or he didn't do that, I have to remind myself, but he's did so many other things, or he does, this better or this well. And I focus on that and I'm happy and grateful for the things that you do versus being so annoyed or angry or bitter for the things that you don't do. And I think that's helped me to move on and not sit in a place of bitterness. So focus on the do's and not the don'ts. It's my takeaway.
Let's go. Let's go. So, guys, as you can see, we kind of took you through a brief journey of our journey, because again, some people think that they see they see this and they see that and they see you driving this and they see you with this bag or whatever, but they don't know what it took to get where you are. where that person is. And to kind of sum it up for me is, you work together, uh, you improve on yourself, and good things are going to happen as a result of it. Like, if your goal is to just continue to improve, there's no way that you guys can go wrong. And even if you're the person that's doing it, because eventually that person's going to see, like, yo, I was bugging. Because there were some times where me and her was beefing, and I had to look at myself like, yo, you was bugging, man. Like, you got to change. So hopefully you guys have seen that no marriage is perfect, especially ours. We're still a work in progress, but we're way further ahead working together than we were years ago when we were kind of working apart. So hopefully you guys have recognized that. Babe, would you like to leave with any words of wisdom? Anything
Yeah, I would just
for
say, well, you think about summarizing, and I think to stay connected by having good communication and collaborating on things. I think both of those will help empower your marriage and help you get through some of the hardest times. And I also wanted to say congratulations to you, babe. 52 episodes, a whole year. I've seen you step out of your comfort zone. I've seen you follow your passion, and you too want to see people grow as far as financial literacy, financial peace, reducing debt, and just being able to take your family into a different space of legacy. So I think as your wife, I've been able to see that growth. I've been able to see that consistency. That's one of my reasons why I love you. You provide a security and a reliableness. So I just want to say congratulations. I love you. I'm so happy to see you grow. I'm happy to see you take feedback from other people to help you grow. Because we don't know everything in our own. And there's a lot of things that you can grow and learn on your own, but there's a lot of things that people can impart into you and help you grow. So I love to even see you taking those keys and that information and just making those adaptations to create a better platform, a better experience for your podcasters. And so everyone who's watching, please share
Yes,
with 10 people and let them know that in this space is a safe space, but the foundation is about building legacy around our families, building legacy around our finances, and for the men, just building legacy around being great fathers.
absolutely. As you can see, guys, she loves the growth.
That's disgusting.
Loves the growth. But anyway,
Stop.
thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And hopefully you guys have got something out of it. We are 52 weeks. We are a year old, y'all. A whole
Congratulations.
year. Let's go. We will see you next week. We have some more things coming up regarding finances. We're going to get into some good conversations with some good people, man. And we're going to talk about finances and how to get over the fear of getting to where you want to be financially. So thank you
Perfect.
for tuning in. Wealth is a journey. Wealth is a journey.
So my W's up. Hold on. I'm getting to go.